I'm Chance Dorland, and this is In Depth, an interview program from expressnews.com with in-depth reporting and other resources for stories affecting San Antonio and Bexar County. The father of an 8th grade student whose peers used social media to brand him most likely to shoot up his school is suing his tormentors and their parents in the first use of David's Law, named for an Alamo Heights student who committed suicide after fierce cyberbullying. I'm joined now by education reporter Krista Toralva for more details on this story. And Krista, of course, thank you for joining me for the first time here on the In-Depth podcast. Let's start even before this case that we're talking about. Let's talk about the history behind David's Law, which is now being used as the precedent for this new lawsuit.
Sure thing. So David's Law is named for David Molak, who was an Alamo Heights student. And in January of 2016, he committed suicide after really intense cyberbullying. It's a really sad story. Some classmates used social media app Instagram to ridicule him and taunt him. They called him things like a monkey, and they said that that he should be dead and put 6 feet under. So after his parents moved him from Alamo Heights to another school, they were aware of the cyberbullying, but it continued online, and eventually he killed himself. And after that, his family and a lot of other Alamo Heights, a lot of others in the Alamo Heights community really rallied against cyberbullying. And one of the things they did was go to the legislature in 2017 to pass David's Law, which does a number of things. It allows parents to seek a court order to make these social media apps stop the cyberbullying, or basically there's an injunction to make the users of these social media sites no longer be able to use them to cyberbully. Another thing that the law does is it places a specific set of requirements on schools and school districts for preventing and responding to cyberbullying. And so really what I've been told is that it gives a little bit more teeth to the issue. And another thing it does that I think is important to note is it enhances the crime of cyberbullying and kind of gives more teeth to the law, because in David Molak's case, his accused bully did not face any charges, as it turned out, and the district attorney at the time explained that the law really didn't allow them to pursue charges. But now that there's a little bit more that can be done in cases like this as a result of David's Law.
So that's the unfortunate history behind David's Law that now plays with the details behind this new lawsuit involving the alleged cyberbullying of a 14-year-old boy at Tex Hill Middle School in the Northeast Independent School District. Tell me some details about that.
Yeah, so this boy is referred to as DR in the lawsuit. And like you said, he was in 8th grade at Tex Hill. And the way his father told the story to me is on Wednesday, January 16th, his son was at school and specifically was in the lunchroom when an assistant principal approached him and said that there were rumors circulating that he was planning on shooting up the school on Thursday, January 17th. And he, of course, denied, that he had any involvement. At this point, the father said that DR didn't even know that there were these rumors circulating. Well, that night, the assistant principal called DR's father, and Derek Rothschild, who's filing this lawsuit. And according to the father, she told him that morning, some students had started an online poll on social media. He's not sure which app, and that the question was along the lines of who's most likely to shoot up the school. And DR's name was listed among other names. But as the story evolved during the day, it became DR is planning to shoot up the school. And the father told me that the assistant principal told him that they already talk to DR. They didn't believe that he was a threat, but that as a matter of precaution, on Thursday morning, they would need to search his locker and his backpack. And the father and DR complied.
And so the boy's father, as you've already mentioned, Derek Rothschild, he claims the district, all the things that you just said. After that, they didn't even clear his son's name, and they didn't provide him with counseling and resources required by David's Law, which we just discussed. In this specific lawsuit, what is alleged and what kind of information and compensation does it seek? It's interesting because despite everything that we've said so far, at least for now, the school district itself isn't named in the lawsuit.
Right. And so the lawsuit uses language like, for now, the district is not named in the suit. And in talking with the lawyer, Justin Nichols, I believe that the lawyer is leaving that door open to the possibility of including the school district. This filing of the lawsuit is really the first step in a process. And so this now allows the lawyer and DR's father to pursue court orders or subpoenas to get more information. They anticipate subpoenaing the school for more information, specifically the names of the students who started this online poll. The lawyer does believe that the district violated David's Law by not referring DR to counseling or any other resources. In fact, they think that the district turned around and punished the victim. So what happened later that day on Thursday, after DR was searched and allowed to go to classes, was his father said that DR felt a lot of pressure and felt like a lot of eyes were on him, and that in a conversation with friends, they were just joking, trying to relieve the stress of the day. And DR made a statement that got back to administrators, and that administrators interpreted as a threat. And the lawyer, Justin Nichols, told me that the comment was quoting a character from this video game called Red Dead Redemption. And it was something along the lines of, I have a plan if only I had the money. But Nichols argues that the comment wouldn't have meant anything or wouldn't have raised any red flags had it not been for these rumors that were swirling about DR. So the administration sanctioned DR to about 15 weeks in an alternative school, which would have been about the rest of his 8th grade school year. And his parents took him out of the district. So now they're homeschooling him. And in the lawsuit, they're requesting $50,000, for mental anguish and other things like that.
And so the story that you've just woven has so many different parts of it. If any of those themselves had just been there, this might have made some headlines, but everything that you just mentioned makes a very compelling story that obviously is still going, as this is just a new lawsuit. This all just happened in January. But that all being the case, I assume Northeast Independent School District, they have a very different opinion of how this was handled and the actions taken by administrators. What does the school district have to say?
So that was really tough for me as a reporter, to balance both sides in this article, because the school district didn't grant me interviews. I had requested some interviews and they didn't grant them. They sent me a 2-sentence statement defending their actions. I think it's important too for me to go back and say that, Wednesday night when this all started, the principal of the school sent an email to parents letting them know that there had been rumors of weapons being brought to school, but that the rumors were investigated and found and deemed to be not credible. And that was pretty much all it said. It said that they were talking to the families of the kids involved. And then on Friday, after DR had been sanctioned, the principal sent another email to parents. And it was, again, really vague and not very detailed, which is something that really upsets DR's father. He thinks that, his son should have been exonerated. But the email on Friday says that that the administration encourages parents to speak with their students about the importance of addressing concerns to administration in lieu of posting to social media. So there's little hints of what happened in this email, but it doesn't fully explain, the investigation and what the investigation revealed. And so the district, when we became involved and started reporting this, they only said to us simply, the district administrators acted appropriately to investigate the situation and took appropriate actions to address it. The district made it clear at the beginning of the school year that all threats against schools would be subject to disciplinary action.
So obviously we're in the initial stages. This just happened. This lawsuit's just been filed. As you mentioned, the student in question has now been removed from the school because of that decision to send him somewhere else, and then the family decided to homeschool him. Any idea what the next step might be for this, either from the school district itself or from the family and the lawsuit?
So the lawyer, Justin Nichols, said that DR's father is going through a grievance process as required by the district. This lawsuit, again, also allows them to start their own investigative process. So they're seeking information, again, specifically the names of the bullies. This lawsuit can be amended, and like you and I talked about earlier, the lawyer has indicated that it probably will be. He's left the door open to include the district in the lawsuit. So right now, like you said, just very early in the process. It's very early in the process. These lawsuits can take a long time. They can take years, but right now they're just in the very initial stages.
And then finally, Krista, I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on, obviously, social media has affected pretty much everything, but obviously with school shootings being what they are and threats against students, this is something that a school district would want to take seriously. And it's easy to see how if they didn't take something seriously and something happened, how then they would be looked upon poorly. So what are your thoughts on how social media has affected that dynamic between students, just making comments, having fun, and truth be told, as long as there are schools, there are going to be students who say bad things about other students. But this is very different than, at least myself personally, when I was in school, and I'm guessing maybe when you were in middle school as well.
Yeah, I don't envy the position that the school districts are in because, on the one hand, we've seen in just the last year to 2 years, social threats on social media, especially in light of the school shootings that we witnessed last year. Right, there were a lot of copycat threats, and there was a lot of heightened security in the aftermath of the Parkland shooting in Florida and the Santa Fe shooting here in Texas. And there were a lot of students that were making these copycat threats on social media. But at the same time, in the last 2 years, we've seen David's Law, which addresses cyberbullying, and we've seen a lot more cyberbullying in the last 2 years. David Molak died in 2016, and the law, named in his honor was passed in 2017. So these two things have been happening in the same time. The schools, as a result of David's Law, are required to have certain response plans in place. So that's something that they have to have. But they're also, trying to protect their students, and so they also have to find the balance with, investigating possible threats or possible cyberbullying. So I think it's a difficult situation for them to be in.
And thank you to San Antonio Express News education reporter Krista Torralva for joining me for today's episode of In Depth, an interview program from expressnews.com. For the San Antonio Express News, I'm Chance Dorlin.